On March 19th, 2005, the luxury catamaran The Matrix was sailing off the coast of Western Australia. This was a 13-day cruise for tourists. The vessel had 13 tourists aboard, plus crew members. And at 2 p.m. on that day, they had anchored off the Albaros Islands to do some snorkeling. Initially, 3 people got in the water, one of whom was the skipper of the vessel, a 26-year-old named Jeffrey Brazier, his buddy Rod Plug, who also worked on the ship, and then another tourist. The rest of everybody else was just on the deck, drinking and laughing and looking down in the water at the 3 who were snorkeling. Well, they're snorkeling right over the edge of this drop-off. So it's a shallow reef that goes to a drop-off into deeper water, and they're snorkeling right there because these areas attract a lot of fish, a lot of wildlife, just cool stuff to look at. Rod, he's down in the water and he's looking around when his mask starts to malfunction and it's leaking and he needs to go back on the boat to fix it. So he turns to look at Jeffrey to tell him that he's going to go back on the boat, but Jeffrey's having a good time. He's got his face down in the water, so Rod doesn't think anything of it. He just turns around and swims back towards the boat. Well, as soon as he starts swimming back towards the boat, the people on the deck can see coming out of the deep water, out of the drop-off area, this huge torpedo-like shape just looks totally black, and it's rocketing straight towards Jeffrey. But they don't have any time to scream or warn him or anything before it hits Jeffrey. And when it does, Rod, who's still in the water only feet away, hears this explosion of water behind him. He turns around to see a 6-meter-long or nearly 20-foot-long great white shark. And it's got Jeffrey in its mouth on the surface. It bites down and shakes and rips Jeffrey completely in half. Jeffrey doesn't even have time to scream. He's killed instantly. So Rod, he gets back on the boat as quick as he can, along with the other tourists, and everybody who's just paid all this money to go on this wonderful vacation is suddenly living a nightmare because the water is completely saturated with blood, and there's half of Jeffrey's body still just floating on the surface, where just moments ago he was just having a great time. Well, just a few minutes later, this shark comes back without the half of his body that it took already. It comes up and just eerily, silently, it's just its head and its dorsal fin, which is over 1 meter long, so longer than any of our arms, comes up to the surface and just grabs the other half of his body, goes down underneath the water, and disappears. So obviously, the people on the catamaran, the crew, they contact authorities. Authorities come out, they search for any remains of Jeffrey. They don't find any, and they search for the shark. And their plan is if they find the shark, they're going to kill the shark, and they're going to try and recover some of Jeffrey's remains from the shark. But they never do find the shark. They never would recover any of Jeffrey's remains whatsoever.